For this tutorial, I'll be using 100% cotton yarn. Yarn weight is 2 mm, 3 mm crochet hook, and 4 stitch markers. First, we will make a foundation chain, and the number of stitches should be divisible by 16, because in the future we will divide it by 4 and then by 4 again. So let's imagine this is our foundation chain. This is start of the chain, and we will divide it like this. This would be sleeves, front part and the back part. We'll make each section with mesh cells that measure 4 by 4 stitches. That's why our foundation chain needs to be divisible by 16. Next, I will chain 96. So when I divide it by 4 parts, it will be 24 stitches per section. But if you have a bigger bust size, you may need bigger front section. So in this case, you may add additional stitches here. For example, +4, +8, etc. But make sure your number is divisible by 4, so you'll have the right amount of stitches in the end. These sections can be the same. If you have a smaller bust size, you can use an equal amount of stitches on each part. I will use equal parts as well. So let's get started with the slipknot. Place the yarn with the tail at the bottom, wrap it around your 2 fingers, insert the hook under the first strand of an X, grab the yarn, pull through. So next we need to chain 96 or any other amount that you decided. Another important thing to say is when you join the circle, make sure it's large enough to fit over your head. When we made the needed length of the foundation chain, we will join our chain in a circle. So first make sure your chain is not twisted. Then find the first chain, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. Next, we're going to make 1 round of single crochets to make our foundation chain more strong. So make a slip stitch. Then we need to find the first chain, this one. And we can hide the tail here. So find the first stitch, insert the hook. You can crochet through the back bump if you want to. Next, place the tail over your hook, yarn over, pull through. You have 2 stitches on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. This is our first single crochet. Find the next stitch, insert the hook, place the tail over your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. The second one, and continue like this until you hide the tail. We can place the marker on the second stitch here. If you look at your stitches, you will see that you have this foundation chain stitches, then one stitch in the middle of the column, and one stitch at the top of the column. So our first stitch is this one, the first stitch on the top of the single crochet. If you're a beginner and it's hard for you to see, you can just place a marker so you don't miss it. So now when we hide the tail, you can cut this little tail that left and just continue crocheting to the end of the round in the regular way. When you reach to the end of the round, we will join our circle. If you are not sure you crochet the right amount of stitches, you can just count, and you should have the same amount as in the foundation chain. So next we need to find our first stitch of the round, this one with the marker. Insert the hook through the bow loops, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook. Next, we start to making the mesh part. Yarn over twice, skip the 3 stitches. This one with the marker we're not counting. 1, 2, 3. Insert into the 4th stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is our first mesh cell. Next, chain 3, yarn over twice, skip 3 stitches, insert the hook into the 4th stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have the second mesh cell. Chain 3 again, yarn over twice, skip 3 stitches, insert the hook into the 4th, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we continue like this until we make our first section. In my case, it's 24 stitches divided by 4 equals 6 mesh cells. So I need to make 6 mesh cells, and then I will make an increase. And now we will make an increase. To make an increase, chain 3, yarn over twice, and insert the hook into the same space. Again, chain 3, yarn over twice, and again into the same space. This is our increase. Next we make the second section. In my case it's 24 again. Divide by 4 equals 6. So I need to make another 6 mesh cells and make another increase. I made another 6 mesh cells and I will make an increase again. Chain 3, yarn over twice, insert the hook into the same space, chain 3, yarn over twice into the same space again, and this is our increase. The next section, 6 mesh cells again. I made another 6 mesh cells and I will make an increase again. Twice into the same space. And we have the last section left. Again, 6 mesh cells. Chain 3, yarn over twice into that same space, the first increase, chain 3, and now we need to find the 4th stitch on our first mesh cell. So the first, second, third, and insert our hook into the 4th stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook. Next, chain 6. Yarn over twice. Keep 3. Insert the hook into this stitch on top of the treble crochet from the previous round. Chain 3. Yarn over twice, find the next column. Insert the hook into the stitch on top of it. Chain 3. Yarn over twice, find the next column. Again, chain 3. Yarn over twice, next column. And we reached to the increase we made in the previous round. what we do here, first chain 3 and make a regular mesh cell. Next we are going to make an increase into that same space. So we make chain 3, yarn over twice, insert the hook into the same space, and do it again. You can also place markers on each increase so you don't miss it. And we can see that there is a little square. So this part will be our sleeve and this part too. This is our back part and this is our front part. We will have bigger and bigger sections in each row as we make increases, and we should continue increasing until we have this section big enough to form a sleeve around your arm. So you just continue to making mesh cells and increases. The principle is the same. You'll just have more and more mesh cells in each round as you do the increases. So continue to making mesh cells and increases to the end of the round. When you reach to the end of the round, you have this first mesh cell, and you need to make the last mesh cell of the round. You just make chain 3, insert the hook into the 4th stitch, yarn over, pull through, and make a slip stitch. Next, chain 6, yarn over twice, find the stitch on top of the column, and that's your first cell of the round. Next, chain 3, yarn over twice, find the next column, and you continue just the same as in previous rounds. So just continue making the rounds with increases until the length of these sections will allow you to form the sleeves. And if you want a looser sleeves, you can make more rounds. If you want tighter sleeves, you can make less rounds. So you should have something like this. And now we are going to place the marker to know what will be our sleeves and body part. If you made bigger front part, make sure you're actually using it at the front part. So we need to grab the corners, find the column between the increases, find the same on other corner, and this will be our sleeve. Next we do the same on the other side. This is our second sleeve. And the body part we will crochet in round 2. So we start here because we have our working yarn attached to the item. And we just continue making the cells as usual to the marker. When we reached to the marker, make sure it's not twisted. We make chain 3, yarn over twice, and now we need to remove the marker, insert our hook into the first stitch between increases, insert the hook into the second stitch between the increases from back to front. So when we have our sleeve, we will have not twisted round, yarn over, pull through, and make a treble crochet. Next, chain 3, yarn over twice, and make the next cell as usual. So next we crochet to the second marker, when we reached to the second marker we do the same, chain 3, yarn over twice, remove the marker, insert the hook into the stitch between increases, insert the hook into the stitch between the increases on the other side from back to front, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and the last 2. Continue making regular mesh cells. When we reached to the end of the round, we just join our round the same way as we did before and start the next round. When you're happy with the length of the top, you can leave it like that and just fasten off, or you can make one last round of single crochets to make it look more finished. Take into account that the fabric will stretch a little after blocking, so make the length a little bit smaller than the actual length you want. I decided to make one round of single crochets. If you decided to leave the last mesh cell round as the final round, you just skip this step and going straight to the fasten off. That will look the same for both cases. We have this little stitch here. To start making single crochets, we need to chain 1. Next, we are going to insert our hook into the next stitch and make a single crochet. Find the next one. And again. You can also make a single crochet through the back bump if you want to, but this way is just a little bit easier and faster to make. So continue like this to the end of the round. When you reach to the end of the round, we need to fasten off, pull the loop, leave a tail, and cut the yarn. Next, we need to find the first stitch of the round, this one. This is not the first, this is the slip stitch. So we insert our hook from back to front through the both loops, like this. And then we grab our tail and pull through. Next, we turn the work. Find these two loops, this and this. Insert our hook through both of them. Grab the yarn and pull through. And we have this invisible join. Next, we need to weave in the tail and secure it to prevent from unraveling in the future. Next, we will crochet the sleeves. Grab the yarn, make the slip knot the same way we did at the beginning of the tutorial, and remove the hook. Don't tighten too much. Next, find this point where we joined our fabric together. Make sure it's the right side. The right side have this little braid and the wrong side will not have it. This is the wrong side, this is the right. So we insert our hook into this stitch. Insert into our slip knot and pull the slip knot through the stitch, but don't pull too hard. We need to not to be on the wrong side. Next, chain 6, yarn over twice, find the next column, insert the hook into the top stitch and make a treble crochet. This is our first style of the round. Chain 3, yarn over twice, and continue making mesh cells. When you reach to the end of the round, we just make chain 3, find the fourth stitch, insert our hook and make a slip stitch, just the same as we did before. Next, chain 6, yarn over twice, and continue like this until you'll be happy with the length of the sleeve. When you're done with the sleeve, you can make one last round of single crochets like we did with the body part. So we need to make slip stitch, then chain 1 and make a round of single crochets, or you can just skip the step and fasten off now. Then you need to make the second sleeve. Make sure you're crocheting the same number of rows. And you're done with this mesh top.